Peace, family, Vie Darling, the Cosmic Queen, and dear intergalactic interpreter. And it's been a little while. I've been on a social media break, and I honestly don't feel like I really enjoy engaging with this app the same way that I used to. But I wanted to just get a reading for today, so let's get into it. If you like this reading, you're more than welcome to check out my Etsy shop, where I have all of my offerings. You can book a reading with me, you can book a session with me, you can book self-sovereignty guidance and cosmic wellness coaching with me. But temperance, we get the temperance card, and I don't know if it came out in reverse, but it wants to be in this direction because I dropped it while I was chit-chatting. You're being called to... What I want to point out about this is that the sun, I'm hearing the sun will come out tomorrow. The sun is rising from behind this cloud. I think you really need to take time with whatever situation you're in right now, because I want to say that this is an opportunity to do something over and do it differently. I'm not saying that the situation itself is not capable of being successful, but what I am saying is the last time that you were faced with this kind of experience, and it may have been actually a lot of times that you were faced with this experience, it didn't go so well, and there were lessons that you learned about the ways in which you showed up. And I'm inviting you to show up differently in these situations. I'm inviting you to behave in a way that is indicative of your sovereignty. You know what I mean? I get the Four of Wands in the reverse position. I think that you don't need to try so hard. I think that you would be well advised to just allow the situation to unfold and stop trying to figure it out, stop trying to figure out what's going on. Sometimes you don't need to know what's going on. Sometimes you just need to trust yourself. And I think that for this group of people, you might have difficulty trusting yourself because of past experiences where you weren't always your best self. And without getting too deep into it, something that I've been realizing a lot about, myself is that I was assigned a role in, let's say, my community of origin. I was assigned a role of who I was supposed to be, who I was supposed to show up as. And, that's the person, that role is how I was engaged with. It didn't matter that that was not genuine to who I am or what I am. It didn't matter that I, exist as a full, multifaceted person. That's the role that I was assigned. And anytime I attempted to be anybody different than that, there were consequences for me. So I ended up leaving that community so that I could figure out who I really am, and develop my own sense of personhood, right? And for a long time, because that is who I learned to be, it took a long time for me to parse out who I am versus who that mask, that role was, that assigned mask. And the mask that I had been wearing to get through life in other situations as well. It's taken me a long time to be able to figure all of that stuff out and to delineate and be able to determine, to call back my power, so that I'm just I'm not who you want me to be, I am who I am, and the streets agree, apparently. Confirmation. But yeah, it took me a while to figure all of that out, and it's something that I'm still figuring out, the art of becoming, the practice of becoming 456 on the timer is one that I will always be living. You know what I mean? 9 of Wands here. So yeah, I'm still learning. I'm still drawing in my highest self into every situation. And that's what you're being advised to do here, is like 4 of Wands in the reverse position tells me that like you may have felt like you couldn't trust yourself before because you may have self-abandoned in the past. You may have self-betrayed in the past. You may have been a version of yourself that you weren't always happy about. And y'all know on this platform, I talk very openly about, like, on these platforms, I talk very openly about who I am and who I've been and what I've been through and stuff like this. But it's like, bro, like, I am still, for all intents and purposes, a very, very young person. Like, I radically changed my life at the age of 24 and like continued radically changing my life for the past almost 6 years at this point. January will be 6 years since I made an extremely life-changing decision and started becoming a completely different person. The change didn't happen overnight, but over the past over 5.5 years, I have been doing things to build trust in myself. And because of that, you know, before there was a long time, it's been a long time since I realized that I didn't fully trust myself to make decisions, because I had made decisions that had gotten me into a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? And I take responsibility and accountability for those choices that I made. I no longer allow them to rule me, and that looks like I don't allow them to define me. I actually do trust myself. I've proven to myself time and again in the past almost 6 years that I actually can make really good decisions. Part of that is because I don't make decisions on my own. I trust wise counsel. Before, I used to have people around me trying to tell me what to do who were not respectable or reputable people. You know what I mean? And even if they were in their own way, like, they weren't living a life that I want to live, or they didn't live the life that I live. As a queer person, as a Black person, as a person coming from a low income experience, as first generation American of immigrant experience, like, there are just certain things that people who haven't experienced the same things as us are not going to, like, understand. You know what I mean? And so if I'm looking for advice on how to navigate academia in the certain intersections that I exist in, it's helpful to some degree to get that from somebody who does not have anywhere close to the same identity as myself. But what's going to be most helpful is to get insights from people who actually know what it's like to move through life as I do in those spaces, right? So I used to, like, care so much what ignorant ass people thought about me. And maybe they weren't ignorant about everything, but they were ignorant about the things that, like, mattered to my experience. You know what I mean? I used to care so much. I used to, like, really want their validation. And I don't go around pursuing those kinds of people's validation anymore, because that's not helpful to me and it's not serving my best interest. Now I make decisions that are in my best interest. And because I've done this over and over again, yes, of course, we slip, we fall down, we make mistakes, but you know, that's all part of the learning experience. And because I trust myself to, you know, learn my lesson and do things differently the next time, I don't have to sit around and hate myself because I made a mistake. I'm gonna end this TikTok here, and you can watch the rest of this reading on my YouTube page. It is at the Aetherium, 𝗂𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 would love to be of service to you. I'll see you there. So continuing, I now trust myself to be able to make decisions that are in my best interest. And if I don't know what to do, like I used to just, if I didn't know what to do, I used to just do, you know what I mean? Like I would just jump up like, oh, I got to make a decision now, because that is some sort of weird pressure that I what felt like I was under when I was younger, I guess. And I don't have to make a decision if I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? And as I was saying, like, I have wise counsel in my life now. I don't have to, what I want to say is kowtow to people who really, like, it's just not, they're not able to give me what I need. They're not able to give what it needs to give, if you feel me. So, you know, I have completely changed the way it's, not completely. I'm not going to sit here and act like I wasn't that bitch, like, the whole time, because I was popping the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, obviously. But, and I had these principles in mind, and I understood them intellectually, but I wasn't exactly embodying them. I wasn't putting them into practice, and now I am able to put them into practice, and I put them into practice regularly. And why is this important? Because this Four of Wands in reverse makes me feel like potentially you are struggling with this situation where you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You don't necessarily know what the answer is. You might feel very concerned and confused, and you're being called to have patience and let the situation play out. With this Temperance card here, the sun is rising. You're being called to, and with this Nine of Wands also, I get very big Sagittarius vibes. Temperance is related to Sagittarius. This has to do with Jupiter. If you're watching while I'm recording this, or if you're watching when I post this rather, Jupiter is the ruling planet of Sagittarius. It also is the ancient planetary ruler of Pisces. Jupiter right now is in its sign of fall, I believe, or detriment. I want to say detriment. But I think it's actually fall. It's in the sign of Gemini, where it is greatly weakened, actually, which, you know, you'd think that being its sister sign of Sagittarius, it would, you know, maybe they would complement one another. But Jupiter and Saturn are two planets where, like, even though Sagittarians and Geminis tend to get along really well, and Capricorns and Cancers do not tend to get along very well, although they are sister signs. Cancer, the moon does terribly in the sign of Capricorn. Saturn does terribly in the sign of Cancer, and same way that Jupiter does not do well in the sign of Gemini, because we can get stuck in that mercurial thinking, and mercurial thinking can be very obsessive. It can tend to want to harp on something, whereas Jupiter is expansive. It's like, okay, we picked up this information, let's keep going, let's keep finding out, you know what I mean? It's about expanding upwards and outwards, whereas Geminian energy, mercurial energy, is more so just about expanding along the plane that you are on, which is important, very important, and it is one of the things that sets mercurial people. It sets Geminis and Virgos, and those with major placements in those signs ahead of the curve in a lot of situations that they're in. But because I think also the air aspect of, you know, being, how is this that I want to share? Yes, obviously mutable, but there's an ephemerality to mercurial signs, particularly Gemini. There's an ephemeral nature to air signs that I'm being very careful about my words, that can be not injudicious, but I don't want to say a lack of integrity, rather, I guess the word is flighty. it can be hard to know where an air sign truly stands, because it can be hard for air signs to know where they truly stand. This is even true for fixed air Aquarius. I have an Aquarius moon, and Aquarians can be real, like, dishonest, if we're being real, because that Saturn energy, Saturn wants to do right, but Aquarius is a sign of eccentricity. So Aquarians can be radically conservative. If they're in a group of liberals, they might just be the radical conservative in the group. So yeah, and it can also oftentimes be like, well, I'm just being different. You know, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm just like, I just have to be different, like, type energy. But why am I saying all of this is because right now the sign of Jupiter is weakened in the sign of Gemini, and we can get really caught up in minutia and myopia, which are not helpful actually to us right now, because we are in a problem-solving space. Yes, it is important because Jupiter can also, like, because it's expansive and it can be quite grandiose. It is not wise to just gloss over important details, just because we are just like, okay, well, that doesn't help. That's not in service of, like, the idea that I want to have, which is like some positive, I guess, like, oh, I'm just going to ignore this issue that I see because I'm more focused on, you know, building a case for a cause rather than, like, looking for things against it. And I will come back to this Uranus energy. Uranus this month of September is moving to 29 degrees of Capricorn. So it will be officially in the sign of Capricorn, which is actually, in my opinion, Pluto, which in my opinion is extremely exciting. I think that this is going to be very empowering. I don't know where my water bottle is. And I am feeling a little dehydrated. My room is a mess. Excuse me. You know what? We're just gonna finish the reading because this was never meant to be a long reading to begin with. I was trying to do like a 3-minute TikTok and like be done with it. But anyway, the point is, that's not how the empirical method works when we are experimenting to find out to test theories and prove or disprove theories. We don't just ignore information we don't like because it doesn't serve us. We have to investigate all of the information and integrate all of the information that we get through our experiments and our experiences to determine what is the truth. Okay, and the truth is something that is very concerned with Libra. In September, we will be moving into Libra season. There will be a major stellium in the sign of Libra all throughout the month. And this is about justice. And this justice is saying that, like, you know, if you're really concerned about getting whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that you've been looking for, my suggestion to you is to just be honest, to just walk in your integrity. Like, show up as your highest self in every situation. Would my highest self put up with this? What would my highest self do in this situation? You know what I mean? Like, okay, I've made this example before. I already know what my dream cars are. Okay? My dream cars are one, a Mercedes G-Wagon, I believe X-Class, X100, I believe it is called. And I want both of them white, one with an iridescent pink wrap and one with an iridescent purple wrap. And I also want a Jolly Rancher blue Jeep Wrangler. Those are my dream cars. and I know them, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that's not what I want. You know, if I'm around people who are intimidated by the fact that I want a fucking like Mercedes-Benz, you know, G-Wagon, if that intimidates you, if that makes you feel bad about yourself, if that makes you feel like some type of way, that's your problem. That's not my problem. And ultimately what that says to me is like our higher selves are not in the same rooms with one another, and we don't have to be in the same room with one another. If you have a problem with the fact that like I want to live a luxurious life, if that intimidates you, if that triggers you in any way, then we don't like, that means that you are not that a relationship with you is not in service of me living my most authentic truth, because I know that those, like, that's what I want for myself, that's what I see for myself, and I'm not going to stop pursuing that until I get it. Like, if that's something that like is a problem for you, then obviously we're just not people who are compatible, and we're not meant to be in any kind of active relationship with one another. And I can just keep it pushing, you know, in terms of, let's say, like dating or making new friends, because it is September. A lot of people are going back to school or going to school for the first time. You know, people could be starting a new job, you know, like a lot of people are like, just, there's a new social season that's like on the horizon, and it's just a time of newness, especially like where I live, like because of the nature, especially of like, I think schools, like it is a season of like turning over. I'm gonna gel this down later, obviously just like in the process of doing this, but yeah, it's like September is when everything kind of like restarts and like starts anew. In a way, it's like the rebirth of the city. And I honestly feel like, to me, the summer is like death. I know that for other people, like winter is like the dead season, but for me, summer is the dead season. But either way, love a New York summer, don't get me wrong, but autumn is when like it is a new beginning for New York and New Yorkers. We have Fashion Week starts, and like it can be a real start of a new chapter, a new era in your life. And I say this all to say, like, you might be meeting a lot of new people at this point in time. You might be finding yourself in a lot of new situations, whether you're watching this when I'm posting it or not. You might be at the beginning, which is also the end. You're in a 10 space, which is like 10 is also in numerology 1. 0 is a nexus. It's not a number. It, I believe, is an integer. But the West doesn't have a concept of 0, because 0 is effectively a portal. It is actually both, it is full. If you are a multi-dimensional being, then you understand that 0 is actually full. It is the fullness of all that is. Like Pisces. Pisces is actually 0. And if you're using 𝗂𝗪𝘗𝗃, that is also a portal, and that is 13th sign, people say. But actually, if Pisces is 0, then it's 12. There's still 12 signs, 0 through 12. Because it is, Pisces is the beginning, but it is also the end. That is why it is both the lightest and also the darkest. Just like Shakti is Parvati, Sarasvati, and who am I forgetting? Parvati, Sarasvati, and oh my goodness. Parvati, Sarasvati, and Lakshmi? I want to say Lakshmi. But yeah, so she expresses herself in a triple goddess expression with the 𝗪𝗙. And comes together as one, as Durga, who really Parvati becomes Durga, who becomes Kali. Kali Ma is Shakti, and she's the darkest because she's also the most powerful, right? So sorry, I'm downloading something. Give me just a second. Okay. All right, so yeah, there's some esoteric deep dive for you. On the bottom of this deck, I get 7 of Cups. I think that you're probably coming out of a really difficult 9 of Pentacles in the reverse, a really difficult period where you have felt like really stuck. And you've been in hermit mode. People think that like, it's not even a hermit mode per se, it's the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is also alone. You know what I mean? Not only is he alone, he's alone, hanging upside down from a tree. Like, everything from his past is coming up for him. Everything that he's been through, every experience that he's had, and all of the context that makes him who he is being clarified. It's coming to his head. It's being clarified for him to develop a new level of consciousness that allows him to move forward in a liberated fashion. It allows him to develop wisdom that progresses him to a level of consciousness that is reflective of the work that he's done. And you may have felt like you were in a hermit mode. You were not in a hermit mode. You were in the Hanged Man. Nobody wants to be in the Hanged Man because it's like, oh, I'm stuck. What do you think, that the hermit is not also in a state of stuckness? You know, the hermit's wandering, but you've been in a state of like, it's felt like you were not growing. You have felt like there's not been any progress in your material life with this 9 of Pentacles in the reverse position. It has maybe felt like with the 7 of Cups, like one thing after the next, after the next, after the next, no fulfillment. You've just been learning hard ass lessons that you don't want to learn, you know. But yeah, we have here a worm in a cup. We have here a worm in a cup. I have Princess of Wands in the reverse popping out. Yo, these cards are popping out right now. Princess of Wands, 4 of Swords in the reverse, and 2 of Cups in the reverse. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be, but it's definitely a scene from the past. There's love, a romantic interest, where this person seems to be focused, the masculine seems to be focused on the feminine seems to be focused elsewhere. So there may have been betrayal, abandonment of some sort. What is the word? It's not like unrequited love, perhaps. Non-reciprocal relationships. There's definitely some sorcery going on in one of these cups. This looks like some sort of bear creature hobbling, maybe a goblin hobbling to the river or to a lake of some sort. I don't know. I don't know what's going on in that scene, but it is all of these scenes that are, you know, this person is raw, their body is like, it's like being raked over the coals. You know what I mean? But yes, like all of these scenes and like all of the betrayal, the nastiness, the distrust, the dishonesty, all of that stuff is there. But in these cups is also like a rose coming out of one of these cups. And then there's a crown coming out of one of these cups. There's light coming out of one of these cups. You know, you have options. You have options. With this Temperance card, once again, and with the 4 of Wands in the reverse, we have the 9 of Pentacles in the reverse, but we have the 9 of Wands in the direct position. when it seems like on this plane, this material plane, there's nowhere else to go for you, that's because you are meant to be going along the not the x-axis, but the y-axis. You are meant to be going up in terms of consciousness. You are meant to perhaps be going inward. And also understand this much. Yeah, you may be like, have been in this place of like, I feel stuck in my external reality, but being stuck in your external reality has helped you to go inward and to forge ahead, to go into the darkness, to face, face those fears that felt insurmountable. Okay, y'all know, if you have watched, I would especially say on the Aetherium. I used to do all of my lives on my Aetherium Instagram, and I would really go, and I would recommend y'all to go and watch all that stuff from last year, because yes, this is one of the most terrifying experiences of my entire life. But guess the fuck what? I survived, and I thrived through it, actually, because I was supposed to not even be alive on the other side of that. The amount of like harm that was done to me, like I'm saying, like this card, like what I say, satanic magics, the most evil shit you can ever imagine. Truly, I'm not exaggerating. The most evil, demonic, wicked shit that you could ever imagine. And has been being thrown at me actually ever since I was born. Literally ever since I was born. Multiple people. Multiple people. And groups, covens have been on my ass since I was born. Okay? And I'm still that bitch. Like, I'm hotter than ever. I'm stronger. I'm more powerful than ever. I'm more in my sovereignty. See this crown and this chalice and this cup? I survived. And therefore, I feel, because I've gotten better through this experience that was, it really was a hanged man. I was very much in isolation last year. But that isolation gave me the clarity to be able to see these relationships, and cups have to do with relationships, gave me the clarity to be able to see these relationships that were tethering me to that movie Us by Jordan Peele. I think that the lower selves that live under the ground are called the tethered selves, right? The tethers, I think. That's your lower self. And I want to say, I really feel like that's the traumatized self, right? When the little girl sees in the mirror the tethered self. And the tethered self is her lower self. And it doesn't have consciousness. Like, it doesn't have the same level of consciousness that she has. And it gets, like, it sees her and it sees an opportunity to escape. So it pulls her into the mirror and it goes out and like replaces her in the world. And so she's mute for a long time, but then she learns to talk. She learns to be a person. But this is kind of like the Persephone story, because this is about like being trapped in your lower self because of trauma, like being hijacked by your lower self. And you'd think, oh, but like she's the bad self, she's the lower self. What I realized a long time ago, this was not something that I realized like today, this is something that I realized a while ago, is like, I think it was like, I want to say this was about 6 years ago, almost 6 years ago, that I realized this. When I was starting on this journey, around 2018, 2019, I realized that the sick version of me is not the version of me that's inside. The feral version of me that's inside is actually the real version of me. The sick version of me is the one that is at the forefront, the mask that I'm wearing, that is walking around engaging with all of you. That's the sick one. That's the one who cannot deal with life on life's terms. That's the one who can't deal with reality on reality's terms. That's the one who has to live a lie to be able to get through the day. And the moment that I realized that is the moment that I realized that I had to stop living a lie, and I had to start searching for the truth of who I am, the essence of who I am. That version of me is the one that can't be trusted, because that is a lie. That one is a liar. You feel me? And that's exactly what happens in Jordan Peele's Us, right? What ends up happening though is that version, the one that gets put inside of the mirror or the underworld, she goes and she like figures out how to get all of these lower selves organized on some Iblis leading shaitan type shit. You feel me? She goes and she gets all these mofos organized. And what's crazy is actually, I don't know if I talked about this, but I saw my Celtic ancestors for the first time. I was doing a session with one of my self-sovereignty advising clients, cosmic wellness coaching clients, and she is of English descent, but that lineage is super locked off to her because it's so sick and traumatized. Like, there really aren't very many healthy ancestors for her to connect with. Oh my God, like my ears are starting to get like, I'm so elvish right now. But two of my Celtic ancestors, I saw them for the first time ever, and like I have dreams all the time where I just have like big red hair. I've always had like dreams like this where I just have like big red hair, and one of my closest friends and confidants is like, yeah, every time I see you in the ether, you have like big red hair. And obviously, I think I've obviously talked about this. I don't know if I've made videos about the downloads about vampirism that I've had most recently, but yes, as somebody who is descended from people who were trafficked during transatlantic slavery, yes, I have ancestors who were of European descent. And I've known this my whole life, actually. Because I've engaged with them, and my ancestors came through to be able to help my client unfurl her DNA. Like, yeah, if you think about like a knotted up ball of yarn, that's what her English DNA is like, because it's like so infected by Anglicanism and Roman Catholicism and Red Dragon BS, confirmation burp. So they came through to like help her undo it. And I just think that's crazy that like that I just decided then like I'm gonna do ginger hair again, because there is a reason why I've been doing my hair brown like for the past over a year and a half. There is a reason why I've been growing out my hair and doing like dark colors only. And yeah, I just think that's like super interesting. But if you book sovereignty coaching with me, or like cosmic wellness coaching, guidance, advising, whatever you want to call it, yeah, the people that I've done like free readings for, because that's just like people in my community, people who are in my circle, like we'll exchange things. Like I always tell them like I have to ask my ancestors first. They're gonna ask for an offering, and I'll let you know what that offering is. And that's why I charge what I charge. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just, oh, like, I'm not just a reader. Like, I have access to lineages, extremely powerful lineages, and also over 2 decades, almost 3 decades worth of occult scholarship, information, and practice. You know what I mean? So when you're booking with someone who's a serious priestess, an oracle, and like shamanness, if you will, like deity on earth incarnation of a God energy. Like, it's not going to be the same as booking a reading with somebody who has just studied tarot or astrology and is just going to be able to tell you those things, especially because we do energy work, and like literally my ancestors are now working on one of my clients with their ancestors. You know what I mean? Like, that's not, but that's because she's doing like self-sovereignty coaching. Like, we're working together over the course of 3 months. Well, technically it's 6 months, but 3 months, and then 3 months later we have is it 3 months later we have a check-in. So yeah, but I very much do not believe that my ancestors would offer to do something like that for just like a one-off reading or something like this. But always, like, if you are receiving services from somebody, even if it's just like, oh, like someone tells you something, a prophetic word that like came to you, a message, you know, I had a dream about you and this is what happened in the dream, you need to put an offering out for that person, or you need to make an offering to their great gods, guides, and ancestors. Deadass. A lot of people have forgotten this, and this is how a lot of y'all are walking around like putting curses on your bloodlines by not treating. Y'all don't know sometimes who you're crossing paths with. This is one of the most important things about Celtic, the Celtic practices as well, is like, you don't, and also African, obviously, you don't treat people any kind of way, because you never know who is a god on earth incarnate. You never know who is an earth angel. You never know who is a witch in disguise. You never know who is one of the 𝗂𝗲 in disguise, let alone one of the 𝗂𝗲𝗄. You never know who you're crossing paths with. This is why you have to like, this is why in my culture especially, like, respect is so important. You don't go around disrespecting people. You don't go around being rude for free. My cousin's like free cheek. That's what she calls it when somebody's just being like rude and you're just like, what is this? Like, what is going on with you? Free cheek. You don't go around doing this, because that's how y'all get curses put on you. You get curses put on your bloodline. Some people, I've told y'all before, sometimes your ancestors will deadass leave you. Like, I know people, like, your ancestors will leave from behind you. They will not support you anymore. They will not protect you anymore if you're just being foolish and causing trouble for the bloodline. Deadass, because you're fucking it up for them. What if they when they reincarnate, you fucked up the bloodline, now they gotta wait 7 more generations before they can reincarnate and have to like fix their karma. You feel me? So this is a message for somebody. Somebody needed to hear that. Yeah, stop worrying so much is what Spirit is saying. Stop worrying so much. Okay, I was saying, well, let me finish what Spirit is saying, because there's a reason that they took me down this thread, right? Stop worrying so much. You might, especially if you've been black sheeped in your life, you've been the odd person out all the time. You're so different, this, that, and the third. Like, you may have been the scapegoat in a lot of situations. Let me tell you something right now. Whenever your eyes are coming across this video, listen to me and listen to me well. Hear me now, seriously. This is over for you. This time is completing for you. I said a 10. 10 is 1 and 0. This is a new beginning. 10 is a number of completion in numerology, not in tarot. We don't have 10s in tarot, but in numerology, it is a number of completion. And there's no such thing as completion. There's only rebirth, transformation, Plutonian energy. Remember, I did speak about Pluto. Yes, girl, let me tell you where we're at. September. Let me tell you, September. Whenever your eyes come across this video, it does not even matter. But September, everything that's happening in the cosmos, if you're not subscribed to the mysteries tier of my newsletter, I implore you, I advise you to go and subscribe to it right this very moment. Okay? It's $11.11 a month, $111.11 as if you get an annual subscription. That's 2 months for free. And I think the founder membership is $177.77. Go on it. The link is in the description box. Go look at what the founder subscription entails, but it does come with free readings and free personal readings. They're not free. You're paying for them, but go look at that. Because I talked about what's happening in the astrology in the month of September. But as I said, Pluto is retrograding into the sign of Capricorn this month. I believe it's happening. Let me look at, I don't want to grab my iPad because I'm concerned about my phone falling down. Oh. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to look at that in a second. Oh, I'm sweating. I don't love that for me. I'm just pulling up my astrology to be clear. September. We just had the new moon 2 days ago. So tomorrow's the last day. That's the 5th. There's nothing happening. No, today's the 5th. There's no insights today. There are no aspects of note today, but tomorrow the North Node will be opposing Lilith in Libra, which means that Lilith is going to be conjunct South Node in Libra in the 10th house, okay? This is a big fucking deal. If you've been feeling agitated, if you look at red hair, girl, red hair. If you have been feeling agitated, listen, justice is coming in, and I believe that it is the 10th. No, okay, let me see. The 6th, the North Node will be opposing Libra. Let me rap to you for a second about what that is actually going to mean. And this is why you want to subscribe to the Substack. Seriously, folks, sign in with password. It's so annoying. I'm sussin' on you. I'm swaggin', ooh. I'm ballin', whatever, son. When I started ballin', I was young. Yeah, the hometown energy, all of that stuff that had to purge out. Listen, folks, I was sick as hell. I was real sick for like days, actually. Like, it's been about a week that I was sick, and I was like really in a lot of pain, actually. I had what may have been just a typical head cold. I don't know why my Substack is not loading, but let's just go on Google Docs. I had a head cold, and it was super, super uncomfortable, but after doing so much purging with the Aquarius transits that we were dealing with in August, it just stood to reason that I would have a head cold and just be blowing my nose like constantly, and just like having a lot of like mucus and stuff, bile and stuff coming out of my head. And then, not to be TMI, but I've talked about this before. I knew that like I have a cycle that I don't remember what it's called. I think it might be called 𝗪𝗪𝗁, something like that. When you have like a cycle that is either always with the new moon or always with the full moon. Mine's not like that. It switches between the full moon and the new moon. So I started getting my moon started coming like a whole week early, a few months ago. And I knew that I was switching over from being on the full moon cycle to the new moon cycle. And that is exactly, that's exactly what ended up happening. So why am I saying this? Sorry, if you are not mature enough to be able to have these kinds of conversations, first of all, quit witchcraft, quit esoteric mysticism, quit it all, quit shamanism if you cannot deal with that kind of stuff, because that's what it is, honey. Quit it if you can't deal with that, first of all. But second of all, the reason I'm bringing this up is because in traditional Chinese medicine, the four humors, I think they're called, we talk about it. It's like phlegm or mucus is fire and blood is water. So this is like an extreme purging of fire and water. And then there's like black bile, and there's one other thing that I'm forgetting, but I think black bile has to do with, and then maybe it's regular bile, has to do with air, and black bile has to do with earth. And so yes, after all of the purging that happened last month in the ethers, which was wild, this month's purging, it had to obviously take place. It had to embody itself. And so I got super sick, and then now I am experiencing my moon. But yeah, let me rap to you about Lilith for a second. I think that's a thing that's like from the 70s. I know older Liberians say that, rap to you, but I think it's a thing that it was like slang in the 70s. I don't think it's just Liberian people. So Lilith is conjunct the South Node and Venus and the Moon, another feminine luminary, here in fucking Libra. Like, are you kidding me? I'm gonna show you the chart. Give me just a second. This is wild shit, bro. At 7 degrees of Libra, and as well as 9 degrees, Venus is at 9 degrees, and the moon was at 22 degrees. So it's not exactly conjunct, but it is still conjunct. If we go back, let's say 6 hours, let's go back 6 hours. Yeah, the moon was at 19 degrees, and they're still conjunct. Let's go back 3 hours now. 17 degrees, 16 degrees, 14 degrees. So why did I have 13 degrees and this Venus is at 8 degrees? 8 and 11, 10 degrees of the moon. 7 degrees, 7 degrees, 8 degrees at Venus, and 9 degrees with the moon. Let's go back, let's go back 1 hour to when this is exact. Because I don't know why I used this chart. I think it was just the chart that they gave me. Okay, the moon is 8 degrees. So that means it's exactly conjunct with Venus. It may not, the Venus may not be conjunct with them at, okay, so at 7:36 on the 5th of September, this is Greenwich Mean Time. So this is happening today, actually. The moon is conjunct 7 degrees, 7 degrees, and 7 degrees with dark moon Lilith and the South Node. As well, 8 degrees Venus. Wild shit. I'm not going to talk about this in this reading. I'm going to go do the shit that I need to do today, and then I'm going to come back. I actually was going to do a short reading and then go get like treat myself to a coffee, or get a can of coconut milk and make myself some coffee. But spirit speaks, and I just gotta talk my shit. You feel me? I need more tattoos. I feel like more red tattoos like around my collarbone would be so fire. So Lilith is actually, Dark Moon Lilith is a point, an arithmetic, I want to say arithmetical. That's not a word. It is a mathematical point, but we use arithmetic. That's generally the word that you would use in this context, but it's a mathematical point that essentially speaks to the furthest the lunar nodes are, something like this. I forget. I literally just looked it up yesterday and I forgot what the point is that they use to find it, but it relates to the moon. It's Black Moon Lilith. And the South Node is also a mathematical point. It's not something that, it's not an actual like placement, or rather celestial body. It's a placement that is determined by using other placements in math. But the moon is a luminary and Venus is a luminary. Okay? I know you may want to hold on to the past wounds because you might think it's keeping you safe. Listen, didn't we get 7 of Cups in reverse? And didn't we get 9 of Pentacles in reverse? I know you may want to hold on to the past wounds because you might think it's keeping you safe. Let it go. It's not. Maladaptive coping mechanisms may have worked to help you survive dysfunction, but they're not going to work to help you cultivate wellness, harmony, joy, fulfillment. They are, in fact, antithetical to that. You need to choose here and now whether you're going to continue living that old life or if you're going to surrender to the new. You decide, but you can't do both. The thing about, like, let's say that Lilith, because Lilith becomes the character that she becomes, she would have originally been Eve, let's say. And let's look at Libra as Eve. Lilith becomes the figure, the lay figure that she becomes, the theological figure that she becomes because of trauma, because she is assaulted. And this is a message people don't want folks to know. This is why it's obfuscated. This is why the story of Lilith was taken out of ecumenical Christianity, you know, the doctrine. This is why these kinds of stories were taken out, because they didn't want people to know these stories. Lilith was assaulted by Adam. She flees to, it's not the Red Sea, but she flees to the sea. And she goes into the water and she refuses to come out. Yahweh sends angels to go and get her, apparently. And the angels, whose names I forget because they're not like, I don't think they're archangels, but they're angels all the same. God sends angels after her and she's like, I'm not coming, leave me alone. Like, you cannot make me. And if you really think about it, why would she? Like, this man betrayed her by attempting to SA her. He cannot be trusted. Why would she go back? But it doesn't excuse the things that she did. So let's say that Lilith is, this is like the story of Persephone, right? Like I said, she is kidnapped. She is irrevocably changed. She is fragmented in her psyche because of this trauma that happens. The trajectory for her life is robbed of her. Everything that she thought she knew is robbed of her. And she has to go and make the most of what she's got, what she's been handed. There's no healing for Lilith in this story. Never in any of the stories do we hear that there's healing. There's only vengeance and revenge. And I could tell you a thing or two about vengeance and revenge. My name is Vie Darling. I am Scorpio dominant. My chart is dominant fixed water. Sidereally, I am a Scorpio sun. And in tropical astrology, I have 4 Scorpio placements. In sidereal astrology, I have 3. But I say that to say I know a thing or two about revenge and want the desire for revenge. Because when you're loyal as fuck, when you're 10 toes down, you hold it down, you're ride or die like shit. Like, to be betrayed, when I get to the breaking point of a relationship, if you betray me, you've cracked the mirror, and I will never be, there's no going back from that. There's no fixing a broken mirror. Okay, I will never be able to trust you again. And that's why I say for like certain people, you know, I had a falling out with one of my childhood best friends, actually both of them. But the first one, I've talked about this, I know I have. The first one, I forgave her immediately because I understood that she is sick and didn't have the tools to express herself and to do the well thing. She didn't have the tools. I forgave her, but we can never fuck with one another again. After what you did, I can never ever trust you. Like that's scary. You know what I mean? Also, you know, that situation was my first time seeing a demon come out of somebody. Like, I had never seen a demon come out of somebody before. And it was the Jezebel spirit came out of her, like I saw it come out of her face. And it was attacking me through her. But it was something that I had to heal within myself as well. But yeah, I forgave her immediately, and I love her to death. I love her beyond death. I've loved her through space and time, and I will always will, unconditionally. But that doesn't mean that we have to fuck with one another again. Because, like, you broke my trust irrevocably. You betrayed me, and I can't trust you. I can't trust that I will be safe around you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's no healing for Lilith, right? Just like with Persephone, she's abducted by, first of all, he's her uncle. And let's just get on past that, though. She's abducted by Pluto to the underworld. She's robbed of her consent. She did not consent to that experience. And then she's made the queen of this foreign place. She's from Mount Olympus. She's from the celestial theater. She's a member of the angelic host, the celestial host. She's a heavenly being, and she becomes a chthonic being against her will. And she's then manipulated by him to eat 6 pomegranate seeds and stay 6 months out of the year down there with him. And, you know, Dark Star Astrology says that, like, she thinks, like, she knew what she was doing when she ate those seeds, and she did it because she wanted power, which she didn't have before, with her parents being, like, super, super powerful gods, and her just being little old Persephone. She wanted power. I don't know. Yeah, maybe, but it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is, like, that's grooming. I can relate to that because, like, I dated older men when I was, like, very young. Like, the first person that I was ever intimate with, I was 17. He was 23 years old. You know what I mean? Culturally, that wasn't a big deal, like, in my culture back home. But, like, then I was 19, dating a 28-year-old. Then I was 20, dating a 29-year-old. Those men were grooming me. And when I look back on, like, being a teenager out and about in New York City, running through these streets of meatpacking district, and, like, with my Liberian driver's license that said I was 21, those bouncers knew I was not no 21. All right, I looked like a 14-year-old, to be honest. But I wasn't. I was 18. those people knew how young I was, the people in the club, and they were all like grown ass men and women trying to take me home, especially when I was drunk. I didn't go home with any of those people, but they certainly tried, which is fucked up. And definitely I was being groomed, definitely from a young age. And this is for those who are of this Persephonic, and I believe that Persephone's abduction would qualify as like the fall of Lemuria, to be honest. That's probably when Lemuria fell and became Atlantis, to be honest. Because think about it too, that's when Demeter stopped. This is stuff that they studied in the Eleusinian mysteries. Demeter and Persephone worship, and Mabon, or autumnal equinox, is coming up, and that is also a time when the Eleusinian mysteries are very important. It is a time of Demeter and Persephone. But yeah, that's probably when the fall happened. And we started towards the Kali Yuga. The bottom Kali Yuga, not the top. But yeah, he groomed her. He like groomed her into staying with him part of that time. If she had just been allowed to age and like be herself, she would have come into her power. She would have come into her dominion. She's literally the daughter of fucking Jupiter, Jove, Zeus, and the Earth Mother, Demeter. She would have come into her dominion. It didn't have to be in his dominion. So this is for those who are of this Persephone collective and this Lilith collective. It's up to you, this transit, it's up to you to decide what you're gonna do, how you're gonna move. Like, are you gonna let it go and heal? This is an opportunity, what we've been going through, and I say this all the time. I realized this like maybe a year or two ago. You might think that like the healing process is fucked up, and it is, because the trauma is fucked up, and to have to go back and like bring yourself to rescue yourself from there. But God loves us so much that we are able to heal. Each and every single one of us has the possibility of atonement at our fingertips if we are willing to let go of arrogance, if we are willing to let go of hubris, pride, ego. Are you willing to let go of the narrative of trauma and pain and ascend to your rightful throne as sovereign of your life? Yes, you've mastered being the sovereign of the underworld. You've mastered slaying demons in the ethers. 2 newsletters ago, I shared a poem from my zine, 𝗂𝗪-𝗁. And 𝗂𝗪-𝗁, it is yeah, I mean, it is about me getting sober, but getting sober also is emotionally sober. It is about like my first real heartbreak, which was with, I'm not gonna name her, but it was with this lady who, that was like the first time I ever actually felt like I truly was in love with somebody. And yeah, that heartbreak. And then there was heartbreak with like, there was a lot of heartbreak that I was healing from. And there was a lot of like, not mania, but destructive behavior that I was partaking in, that I also recognized in the moment because I was sober, because I was having like a growth, a generative, a healing, a solutions-oriented mindset being reflected back to me. Like, as soon as I ended things with this woman, I met this other fucking like gorgeous, exactly my type elf, like literally a supermodel, also literally an elf, You know, I don't know why me and Dominicans have this like magnetic pull towards one another, but very like 100% my fucking type, right? I met her, and from the outset, fucking chaotic as fuck. And I just like she's also very chaotic and messy and problematic. And I learned from a friend who knew they didn't know each other like personally, but they're in the same industry. They have a lot of like mutuals, and my friend was just like, you dodged a bullet on that one, honestly. Like, you would not have wanted that smoke, let's say. But the reason why I like fell back off that was because I realized, like, I looked from the outside in, I was like, I'm being crazy. Like, I'm being fucking nuts. My behavior is erratic and like completely ungrounded, like, and it's also causing harm. Like, I am absolutely not over this other person. Like, that ended less than a month ago, and I feel fucking crazy, and I'm full of hurt, and I'm fucking sober for the first time since I was maybe, I think, 15 years old, for like an extended period of time, because I think I started smoking weed when I was like 15 or 16. But yeah, I was just like, I cannot like do this. Like, this is dysfunctional as fuck, and this is problematic, and I need to give myself, you know, time to heal. And I wrote about that in the zine. It's called 𝗂𝗪 I'm gonna upload it, I promise. I'm gonna upload it to my Etsy so folks can like read it. But I wrote about this, like, I've been basically every summer being eclipsed by these infernal energies, because y'all know I say when the eclipse portal opens, it's like the gates of hell opening. Eclipse season's gonna be wild stuff. But it is an opportunity. Are you gonna stay in hell, or are you gonna fly the fuck out of there like a bat out of hell? And are you gonna fly out of there like a bat out of fucking hell? I'm gonna read the poem, actually, because I think that will be helpful. Before I got sober, a lot of my poems, I used to be like, it would just be like about me, about demons all the time. I wrote so much about demons. I wrote so much, oftentimes I would talk about like feeling like I was pulling my body across the bottom of the ocean with the pressure, all the pressure of the ocean bearing down upon me. And I did a Reiki session. This was 2020. I got sober in May, on May 10th, 2020. God bless, mashallah. Inshallah, that's the last time I'll ever get sober. I hope that's the only sober date I ever have. But my friend did a Reiki session with me, and in my Reiki session, they saw me like on a cliff. And I swear to God, it was the White Cliffs of Dover. They didn't tell me this, but I know it was the White Cliffs of Dover. And I had like rocks in my hands from my ancestors. And my friend was like, these were the tools that your ancestors gave you. And they want you to know that you have all the tools to be able to help yourself. Okay, so now I don't have that idea of being underwater anymore. I'm not in like that hell space. But why am I saying this? Because when the gates open, I've spent the past 4 to 6 years climbing out of hell. climbing my ass out of the depths, the fucking depths, bro. I don't write about demons anymore. I don't write about being at the bottom of the ocean anymore. Like, I don't write about that anymore. I climbed out of the pits of hell, and when the gates open, I'm going back to fucking Mount Olympus. I've made my decision. I'm fucking going back to Mount Olympus. If you, the rest of this collective, if you want, because I know the collective that I read for, if you want to stay in hell, if that's something that's so important to you as being queen of the damned, queen of hell, if that's so important to you, go right ahead, but shut the fuck up about your suffering. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. I say this shit all the time. For me, like, if you're gonna complain to me, it better be on some solutions-oriented shit. Cause like, I don't have problems, I have solutions. So don't make your problems my problem, because if you don't want your problem to be solved, I solve problems. So if you were really not trying to like get it up out the mud, don't tell me about it. No well-adjusted person, no person who is pursuing success and to glory, no person who is going to glory wants to fucking hear you complain about some shit you know you're not finna do nothing about. If you're not finna do nothing about it, shut the fuck up, please. On God, like, shut the fuck up, please. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. And sometimes you need to hear it that way, because I swear to you, if this is you, your friends are tired of it. Your friends don't want to hear that shit. You keep going and doing the same shit over and over and over again. You keep getting back with your toxic ex. You keep doing that same pattern. I've been single 5.5 years. That's the last time I was in an actual relationship. Not a situationship, not a long-term talking phase, not somebody is obsessed with me but afraid to actually like make it official, like an actual or like some other chaotic gay shit, because that's like quintessential girls loving girls shit. Like, not that type of shit, but like an actual relationship. And it's been since March was 5 years since the last time that I was intimate with somebody. And in that time, there's been a lot of intrigue, and there's been a lot of like lack of fulfillment, but I never hooked up with any of those people. Because I just decided I needed to do things differently. And there was a point when I realized like I was so chaotic when I was discovering my sexuality in terms of like I guess like sex and romance with cis men. And I didn't want that for my queer relationships. And I actually did, like, the first year when I quit drinking, and it was not for lack of trying, because I was trying to get with girls hella, and I couldn't give it away for real. But that's also because I was not gonna, like, I think I was just being protected spiritually, but I couldn't fucking give it away if I tried. And I did. But then I realized, like, I'm going about this in a way that was really destructive for me the first time, and I'm not trying to do that this time. And then, like, the next 2 years was very intentional of, like, I don't feel like I'm ready, and I feel like I need to just focus on my sobriety and my recovery and my healing. And then the next 2 years, it was just like, it just didn't happen. Like, I didn't meet anybody that I liked enough to be intimate, or it just didn't come into fruition. There are a lot of people that I liked, but it didn't come into fruition, and I do believe that I was being protected. And you know, a lot of divine feminine crystallines, we go through this like long celibacy or abstinence period rather, for purification and crystallization. And especially if you are part of the Lilith collective, if you are part of the Persephone collective, like, you likely have a lot of sexual healing to do. And in order to do that, you really ought to be abstinent for a while to be able to do that clarification and purification. If you've been through so much putrefaction, you know, and the kinds of violence that many of us have experienced. So I just want to put that out there to somebody. L'optimise. I'm just looking for it. I can actually just search. Why don't I just search? Why don't it let me search? What is it called? Goddess 2. That was before I changed the spelling of my name. I used to spell my name V-E-I. Now I spell it V-I-E because that is life. All right. I'm gonna read two poems. This one's called A New Age Begun. Voila. I shall give no more energy to depravity. I shall feed the jackals no more. Out, damn spot. Creatrix, I beseech thee. What more shall I worry about? My God is time. Material distractions are beneath me. I glue myself to you and remember my truth. Here happens a great unfurling, divine nucleotide activation, and here comes the opalite wave of peace. My prince returns to me crowned in all the glory of heaven, raiments fine spun like fairy wings and kisses petal soft. A new age begun. I slay demons. I have been battling demons in the nether realms as they manifested here on earth. My countenance darkened, but nevertheless, I am light. Common misconception. You'll know it when you see it. No, you'll know it when you see it. And if you're refusing to see, what then will you know? I've been letting my character defects get the better of me. Consumed was I by the dark wave of infernal waters that sits still deep in my root. Every year I am eclipsed by such fiendish energies, and every year I am graced with a new light. I slay demons. And I didn't even have like the same level of awareness that I have now. So eclipse season is coming up. It's starting with the full moon. We have a full moon lunar eclipse on the 18th in Pisces in the 8th house. That's going to be on the 17th for people on the, so it's 2:34, 2:45 Greenwich Mean Time. So if you're in the United States, that's going to be, or continental United States, actually also Hawaii. I think it's going to be same for Alaska, maybe, don't quote me on that. But I don't know for Puerto Rico or Guam. But definitely for continental United States, it's going to be the 17th at 9:34 and 9:45 p.m. Full moon Pisces 8th house opposing the sun. Full moon Pisces 8th house lunar eclipse. And the sun is going to be in Virgo 2nd house. So when the gates open, climb the fuck out. Get the fuck out of Dodge, my friends. Liberate yourself. This is what this journey has been about. And so coming back to the original poll,
right? The original card I pulled was the Temperance card. You are concerned about making the wrong decision. You're so concerned about making the right decision in your mind, but really that is the wrong decision. You are not, yes, you're afraid of making, you're concerned with, you're worried about making the right decision, which means that you are afraid of making the wrong decision. And if you are operating from a space of fear, you are creating more situations to experience fear in. Let us think about it as a thread, okay? And we are the needle. And it is this the web, or the quilt rather. Oh, I'm thinking of the fates. So we're very much in Hellenic territory. Yeah, if you are interested in I wanted to do a sacred dinner, a high holy day dinner for the equinox here in New York, but I can't find a good location for it, and at this point it's too close to time. So I did ask in the newsletter if you are located in New York and you'd be interested in a Samhain dinner, let me know, because that would be very helpful. But we can definitely do an autumnal equinox workshop. Let me know if that is something that y'all would be interested in. Comment down below if that is something that you would be interested in. Like a virtual workshop, because yeah, we can do energy work, we can do ritual together, and also we can share a meal together virtually. That's also a thing that we can do. It doesn't have to be in person, you know, because I know that a lot of the collective is like spread all over the world. But temperance, we're thinking about like the fabric of space-time. We are the needle. We are weaving the fabric of space-time. The Akash is ever changing. A thread, a narrative thread. We talk about this, timelines, string theory. We talk about this all the time here in the Aetherium when we talk about cosmic wellness. So you are the needle. If you are sowing a seed, a thread, based on fear, based on desperation, based on doubt, what do you think that you are going to get back? You are going to create, you are going to weave into the tapestry of your space-time continuum, fear, doubt, desperation. It is corrosive. That is degrading, yes, but it is derogatory is the word that is coming up for me right now. It is derogatory to your container. You're wondering, like, oh, I don't want energy vampires in my life anymore. I don't want fakes. I don't want phonies. I don't want liars. I don't want thieves. No more pearls before swine. You feel me? Because you've been on the glow up journey. You've been on the level up journey. You've been on the self-sovereignty journey, right? Becoming that girl, that guy, that they, whatever the fuck you identify as. I identify with they, them pronouns, but I'm still that girl. Word too. But yeah, like that person, you're still them. All this to say, you know, if you don't want to have more situations that are, if you don't want the integrity of your container degraded and corroded like rust, think of it as iron. You don't get iron wet because Water rusts iron, and that it eats away at it and it makes holes in it. So you don't want to get iron wet. That's why we use copper. Make yourself, and yes, this is the perfect, okay, so say your vessel was made of iron. You don't want to get it wet, because if you get it wet, you're gonna, it's kind of like moth-eaten, going back to the fabric analogy, but this is actually important. If you get it wet, it's going to rust and it's going to corrode. The thing about it is, though, we do alchemy so that we're not going to be iron anymore. We do alchemy so that you go from being an iron container, which is pretty fucking like, that's like, I'll pay a penny for that shit. Give me that for free, in fact. Iron has its usages. I have a cast iron skillet, you feel me? But like, fuck iron. For carrying water, and we are water bearers, right? Back to this Aquarius energy, back to Pluto moving out of the sign of Aquarius into the sign of Capricorn. It's right in the middle right now. Let me tell you, I think that happened on the 1st. Yeah, that happened on the 1st. Yo, this astrology, the heavens are opening up. You better run like a fucking bat out of hell. Dead ass. But the point of doing the alchemy, the point of doing the shadow work, spiritual abolition, the point of the cosmic wellness practice is so that you go from being a vessel that can't even hold water. You can't even deal with like your emotions, your feelings, you know, you can't even accept love. Because that's what water is. You can't have relationships for real, because that's what is represented by water and esoteric mysticism. We transmute from being iron to being copper. Copper purifies iniquities. That's why you carry water in copper. You put copper in water to purify it. But more than that, what we've been doing for my diamonds, I refer to you all as lovers. I refer to you all as diamonds, especially in the newsletters, because we're going all the way to diamond. Diamond is the hardest mineral that exists, that is naturally occurring. And yeah, just imagine having a diamond container for your water. The crystalline waters, the living waters. That's what we are being transmuted into when we activate the high heart chakra. But you can't activate the high heart chakra if you are low vibrational iron. You can't, because that's the access point to the living waters, to the river, to life. Right? So this reading has definitely gone on. It's about an hour and a half at this point. Oh my God! Sorry. It's about an hour and a half at this point. I think that I'm ready to like close it up here. Stop worrying so much. Stop being so afraid. Oh my God. I have had 𝗪𝗪𝘁 first studio album stuck in my head the past 2 weeks, and I'm thinking about when he's like, why are you always so depressed and sad all the time like a little bitch? I just want to hear you rap. Don't nobody want to hear what you going through or what you gotta do. We want bars, 16 of them. I forget what that song is called, but I think that's Vince Staples. And he's like, my grandma's passing, but I'm too fucking busy I'm too busy trying to get this album cracking to see her. So I apologize in advance if anything should happen. My priorities fucked up. I know it. Afraid I'm about to blow it. Yeah. Fucked up priorities. Stop with the fear. Let go of those old narratives. I told you, this is a new beginning. It's here if you want it, so accept it if you really want it. If you don't really want it, admit to yourself that you're an energy vampire. Admit that you're choosing to be a vampire. Admit that you're choosing to be a succubus. Admit that you're choosing to be parasitic. Admit that to yourself. Because one thing I can't fucking stand is somebody who acts like they're about it, but they're not really about it. I can even respect somebody who is like, you know, nope, I'm sinister as fuck. I'm demonic. I'm infernal. I'm on that type of shit. Yup. I'm on demon time. I'm a vampire for real. I can respect that. What I cannot fucking respect though is people who want to act like they're on some other type of time. At least keep it $1.50. Right? And that shit gets me tight, because I've had a lot of relationships like that, especially like platonic, romantic, familial, all types, and especially professional. That shit, like, that shit gives me the fucking ick, bro. So, I'll read this again. I know you may want to hold on to the past wounds because you might think, and the time that I pulled for this chart, let me show you this. It's in the first house, mind you. I wonder if I put it back an hour, I wonder if we can get it to, and we have Fortuna here at a certain point. Okay, no, there's not gonna be a point where I want to get to the exact moment. This like is what gets me off. Getting to the exact moment of when a transit happens. 10 minutes. Like you don't give a fuck again, right? 𝗂𝗵𝗄𝗃, what's up? I heard you back, we need them tracks. I need the verse. I don't care what you going through or what you gotta do. I need bars, 16 of them. I'm a starship type. Bleep. All right, so I think I found the time that it's exactly conjunct. It is 6:27 on the 5th of September 2024. That's Greenwich Mean Time. So actually that is 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. That happened this 1 a.m. the day that I'm recording this. And at that time, we have a major stellium with Fortuna at 14 degrees. But here we have the moon, dark moon Lilith, south node, and Venus. 2 karmic placements and 2 luminaries. Divine feminine luminaries. Get that. And Fortuna. This is some wild shit. This is crucial. Absolutely fucking crucial, bro. You might have people who you cut off trying to get back into your good graces on some thank you next type shit. I'm so fucking grateful for my ex. I'm still getting over being sick, and also right now I'm dehydrated. So I'm not even gonna try to sing. But I know you may want to hold on to the past wounds because you might think it's keeping you safe. Let it go. It's not. Maladaptive coping mechanisms may have worked to help you survive dysfunction, but they're not going to work to help you cultivate wellness, harmony, joy, fulfillment. They are, in fact, antithetical to that. You need to choose here and now whether you're going to continue living that old life or if you're going to surrender to the new. Old earth, new earth, you decide. But you cannot do both. You cannot have one foot in, one foot out anymore. At all. So it's really like, you know, I could still like make myself small to be around people who are jealous of my calling or feel inferior around me. They don't want me to have a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, let alone 2 with the iridescent wraps. They don't want me to look like I'm driving around in a fucking fairy bubble. They don't want me to have my electric blue fucking Jolly Rancher blue Jeep Wrangler. You feel me? They don't want me to have my earth integrated dome home on some poppin' ass money tricked out hobbit shit. They don't want that from me. That's not my friend though. Why would I fuck with that person? You know, you can't make yourself small anymore. It's a decision that you gotta make right here, right now. Like, make the decision and walk in that and live in that. When you are living in your integrity, when you are living in your truth, you don't need to worry about, am I making the right decision? Yes, you know you're making the right decision. You're embodying your higher self in the here and now. Your higher self that has the G-Wagon is not gonna fucking be hanging out with somebody who doesn't want them to have a G-Wagon, or who don't like that they have a G-Wagon. Have you ever heard of the Jeep wave? It's when people who have Jeeps wave at each other. You're gonna be part of the Jeep wave crew, not the people who are like, oh, I hate Jeeps. You know what I mean? Or like, I'll make this example. When I realized that I want to have kids, I came to the realization that, like, one, I think people who hate kids are really sick and there's something wrong with them. It's one thing to just, like, not be into kids, or, like, you know, you don't want kids, but to hate kids, something's wrong with you. And I don't fuck with that shit. And I actually, like, integrity-wise, I just don't want anything to do with somebody who hates children. That's sick. So I'm not gonna fuck with somebody who hates kids. And I do know people like that, and I don't fuck with them anymore. We don't talk, we don't bang with each other, because how am I gonna build towards my future of having kids with someone like you in my life? You feel me? That's number one. Number two, I realized, like, I need to start looking for people. I need to start developing relationships with people who have kids, and are the kind of parent that I want to be. Because I know plenty of people who have kids, and I don't fuck with the way that they do their shit. I don't fuck with the way that they, like, live their lives. And I don't care that I don't have kids yet. Like, there's certain shit you know better. You know that's not, like, there's no fucking excuse. Anybody with the fucking right mind will be able to tell you, like, that's not okay to have a kid around. You don't need to have a kid to know that you shouldn't have kids around domestic abuse. You know what I mean? I realized that, like, I need to be around people who want to get married because I want to get married. Like, I'm building towards a future with people who are also building towards that future. I don't need to continue. It's no shade to the people who are not building towards that future with me, but our paths have diverged, and that's okay. The problem is, a lot of people are obsessed with things remaining the same. You gotta, like, let people go, let situations go, let environments go. It's fine. It doesn't mean you don't love them still. And that's the problem, is a lot of people don't understand unconditional love. I love you enough to let you go be you. You want to be in that sick relationship. You want to hate kids. You don't want to get married. Like, you go live your life. But what I know, after spending my entire life, like, with the people that I was closest to being a decade older than me, what I do know is it's very hard for married people to have close relationships with people who are not married. It's very hard for people who are in long-term relationships to be friends with people who are single and don't get it and have never been in a long-term relationship. Even when I was 18, I was hanging out with people who had kids. Okay? And, like, you have to choose one foot. You cannot have one foot in, one foot out. Just like it says in Matthew, I want to say Matthew chapter 18. You know I got my Bible app open. I think it's so funny that in all honesty, like, if we're being real, like, in pretty much every room I walk into, I would be considered heretical. Every room, like, you know, especially in terms of spirituality. But let me find, maybe it's, leave me alone. The parable of the sower. Yeah, we had the parable of the sower, which is Matthew chapter 13 in last week's newsletter. Giving to the needy. That reminds me of DMX. Rest in peace, X. It's Matthew chapter 5. It's not the Beatitudes. I'm actually going to read Salt and Light. And then I'm also going to read why am I forgetting what number this one is? I used to have this like posted up on my wall. For either you will hate one and love the other. Why am I forgetting this verse? Man cannot serve two masters. Matthew 6:24. All right, I'm gonna read that first, and then I'm gonna read from the Beatitudes, because I think that's gonna activate some codes for some people. Treasures in heaven. I'm gonna read 19 through 24. Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth. In fact, I want to read later, bitch. I want to read, oh, that's why it wasn't highlighted, because, okay, I was reading the New International Version. I usually read it King James Version. True wisdom. There's real religion, but I'm going to read true wisdom. This is like one of the most important verses for me, and I refer to this as the good grimoire. So yeah, no man. I'm not gonna decolonize this while I read it, but I will post it somewhere. Maybe in the news, maybe on Substack, I'll post the decolonized version. But for now, I'm just gonna read it as is, because I've been talking for a long time. No person can serve two masters, for either they will hate the one and love the other, or else they will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and Mammon. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for... Yo, this is exactly what I'm saying, bro. This is exactly what I'm saying. Take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more than meat, and the body than raiment? Behold the fowls of the air. This verse saved my life the past like 3 years. This verse saved my life. Dead ass. Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns. Fowls of the air, spirits, high spirits, nor gather into barns. The Arcturians are here. And I do feel that the good grimoire is an Arcturian text, actually. Yet your heaven, oh, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns. Yet your divine, most high divine creator feedeth them. I'll say it. Yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? But also obviously like Mother Gaia. But the most high divine creator feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? Which of you by taking thought Which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit unto their stature? And why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Didn't I say going to glory? I'm hearing glory to God in the highest. And 𝗂𝗪𝗁𝗄𝗄𝗄 Deo. And 𝗂𝗪𝗁𝗄𝗄𝗄 Deo. This is some anti-capitalist stuff. Let me tell you. This is very anti-capitalism. Wherefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall they not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Gentiles seek. In Liberian spirituality, I don't know if this is true for the other cultures of the other like West African countries, but for Liberian people, we say the non-believers, the people who don't believe in our spirituality, we call them sinners. Not the Christian kind, but like that's essentially what the equivalent of a Gentile, seek, or a heathen. That is also. For your heavenly Father, or for your most high divine Creator knoweth that ye have need of all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God. That is to say, seek ye first the domain of the divine and their righteousness. And all these things shall be added unto you. Take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. Sagittarius energy. Sagittarius is actually the constellation that is the gateway to the center of the galaxy. So that's number 1 with this Temperance card. But what did I say about the 4 of Wands in reverse? Let that shit go. Let that karmic stuff go. Let those karmic behaviors go. Stop worrying so much about it. Why did we have to be in this, what did I call it? This hanged man period where all that we were experiencing was like, we just were going over and over and over these timelines of pain and heartbreak and heartache. Why did you have to go through that? So you could liberate yourself, because you were on a rescuing mission. You were going back into those, into the darkness, into those dark caves to what is it called? Soul retrieval, to do soul retrieval on the fragmented parts of yourself, so you could gather up all that light that got left behind in the darkness and bring it and purify it and integrate it into one in your wholeness, so that you can shine bright like the diamond that you were born to be. Yes, so that you can be full of the holy, sacred, divine essence that you were created with, that makes you a little dewdrop of divinity just as much as me or anybody else. That's what makes each and every single one of us a child of God. Know that much. Know that you are blessed and highly favored. Know that you are loved unconditionally, and that's the unconditional truth. And know this much: you were fearfully and wholly made. Fearfully and wonderfully made. In the image of your Creator. I don't care if like you are AFAB or AMAB or intersex. I don't care if you have a disability, whether that's a physical or mental or developmental. I don't care. None of that matters. Your race don't matter. Your gender don't matter. Your sex don't matter. It don't matter. None of that matters in the eyes of the Creator, of the one. And that's the only one that we need to be worried about. So all that other shit, all that other worldly shit, you cannot serve God and serve mammon. You cannot serve the divine spark that lives within you. So you do what you got to do for you, your authenticity. Are you living a life worth living to you? I don't care what nobody else thinks. Somebody might be like, oh, let me say if my favorite car, if I wanted to drive a Range Rover, someone might tell me facts and truth that Range Rovers are trash. Range Rovers are not good cars. They're not good for the environment. They require so much money to upkeep and maintain them. It's not really a luxury car for that reason, because to me, luxury means I don't have to be like keeping up with it constantly. But listen, if that's the car that I want, that's the car that I want, bro. And other people can be like, that's a really bad car. And you know, no, actually, I think that's a bad example, because you really shouldn't have a bad car. But let's say if someone's like, G-Wagons are so ugly, Jeeps are so ugly, that color blue, oh my God, you're gonna get a wrap, that's gonna depreciate the value. Bitch, I don't care. I'm the one who wants to ride around in a giant fairy bubble. I'm the one who wants to ride around in a giant unicorn bubble. That's what I want for myself. That's the life that I want to live, with my big ass wolf dogs. That's like in the back seat, like a real LA bitch, even though I don't even want to live in LA. Like, that's what I want for myself. Oh, you shouldn't get a husky, or you shouldn't get a Malamute, or you shouldn't get this a chow, because this is that, or that is that. I don't give a fuck. Let me tell you, like, that's what I want for myself. That's what I want, period. Oh, I don't like that type of dog. Okay, I'm seeking my fulfillment, not yours. You go do what you like. That's why it's not your dog. That's why it's not your car. That's why it's not your life. Mind your business. And if you see somebody can't mind their business, I would encourage you to not even, like, don't pay attention to them, because they're a sick person who hates themselves. And they're in a whole other world. Don't belabor those kinds of relationships. Dead ass. That's good. That's what we leave in the past. Okay, those are karmics, and we don't fuck with them. Okay, so we're not stuck anymore. You're free if you want to be. You're free if you want to be. I think that that is everything. I did want to read from the Beatitudes, because I think that it will be very helpful. So this is from the Sermon on the Mount, from my favorite guy. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven, the domain of the divine that is within you. Seek the domain of the divine within you. Like I said, you may have been stuck in the material realm, but did that not cause you to go within yourself and to search for new vistas, to explore and to find and to create greater space? And there you struck gold. If all the wells in the external ran dry, right? If all the wells in the external ran dry, did that not bring you to the river? Okay. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the domain of the divine, kingdom of heaven, the gates opening, baby. Let's get it. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Feel that pain. Feel it, and let it move through you, so that you will be comforted. Don't get stuck there. Let it go. And that doesn't mean that it didn't happen, that it's not valid, and that, you know, all of that, that's not real. But it means that you're not torturing yourself for the rest of your life by staying stuck in hell when you can move forward. And the second you take a step forward, the universe, the divine, sends battalions of angelic support to lift you, to carry you, to whoosh you through. Because I'll tell you what, the things that I've been through, I don't know. I didn't survive just on my own. You feel me? It's not just me that keeps me sober one day at a time. It's not just me that got me through, some of the most heinous shit that you can imagine, for real. So I'll tell you, miracles. We are in the age of miracles today. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Theirs is the domain of the divine. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Remember, when we see it in red, when it's Christ Yeshua speaking, this is speaking, channeling the crystalline. This is high heart chakra activation. This is channeling the divine. So this is for Christ consciousness, embodiment of Christ consciousness. Okay, for my sake, this is unconditional love and unconditional truth, crystalline. For so rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. When I had a breakthrough, I think it was 2 Aquarius full moons ago or something like that, that, you know, if these people who are actually terrible people and are abusers and enablers of abuse don't like me and they think I'm living my life wrong and they have a problem with everything that I do, good. I like that for me, actually. I think that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful that you, who are a disgusting human being, who's a harm doer, who's a perpetrator of destruction and evil, you don't like me. I love that for me. I fucking love that for me. Because that means I'm doing something right. That means I'm doing something good. You don't like me because I speak the truth and I stand up for people who nobody's standing up for. You don't like me because I stand up for justice. You don't like me because I don't allow abuse of power in my presence. Good. Don't like me, because that shows me who you are. You're an op, and I'm gonna take you the fuck down. Period. And that was very liberating for me. Very liberating awareness. Yeah, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward. These are the times, my friends, heaven on earth, Shambhala. Ye are the salt of the earth. Okay, so this is like separated, but this is still from the Sermon on the Mount. The Beatitudes are over now. And this is the light of the earth, or this is the salt of the earth and also the light of the earth. And this is the Chosen One Collective. I think that, like, I get a lot of readings for the Chosen Collective in general, but I mainly read for the dark feminine divine. So that's just important to note. But this is for the chosen. Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. If you lose your essence, why are you even on earth? Why did you even come here? Why did you even go through all of those terrible things? Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do people light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before humanity, that they may see your good works and glorify your Creator, which are in all things. Think not that I am come to, and this as well. We went over this, I think, not the last newsletter, not the one that I just posted, not the one before that, but the third to last one. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass. Oh no, we didn't go over this one, excuse me. Not pass, one jot or one tittle shall no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach people so, they shall be called the least in the domain of the divine in the kingdom of heaven, but whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. So that's all I have for you. I hope that was helpful. I know that it was helpful to me. I started this day, I didn't know what to do. I was just like so out of it. And I was gonna make a quick little reading for TikTok, just because I haven't posted in like, I don't think I've posted in, I definitely haven't posted in a month, maybe in a month and a half, like 6 weeks. But yeah, I guess I had messages that needed to desperately be shared. I love you all truly and deeply. It is such an honor and a blessing to be able to glorify the Most High in all that I do. It is such an honor and a blessing to be trusted with being an oracle and a messenger for the divine, and it is such a blessing and an honor to get to read for you, to get to speak to you, to get to share in this process and this experience with you. And I would love to hear more from all of you. Please do not hesitate to reach out, like, comment, subscribe, share with somebody that you think would benefit from this. Go ahead, subscribe to my newsletter. Even if you can't afford the mysteries tier, you do get a brief monthly reading at the beginning of every month. So for the free tier, which is called the channel, and I also post personal essays on there. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, check out my Etsy, book with me. I'd love to connect with you personally. And with all that being said, have a blessed whenever you are engaging with this video, and we're coming out on the flip side. Peace.